The role analysis section of the team performance report looks at all the operators you all play and assigns like certain roles to certain operators to try and give you an overview of the type of roles that your players are performing. So, for example, on attack, you've got Heart Breacher, Utility Remover, Entry Fragger, Soft Destruction, Flank Watch, etc. And on defense, it's stuff like Breach Denial, Projectile Denial, Intel Provider, Trapper, etc. The top two are, attack and defense, an average of your whole team, and then the bottom two are attack and defense split across your individual players that you added in the report. You can use these to find flaws in your operator lineups, right? Are you missing specific roles that are very important? And are maybe some of your players doubling up on roles that you only need one of? And if so, you can redistribute the operators to try and get a more ideal lineup going. Some details to look out for. As an example here, like obviously Heart Breacher and Utility Removal are very important parts of any attack lineup. As you can see, we have plenty of those. Both me and Naka generally play the Heart Breacher or the Utility Remover, and All Right Love is more of a flexible player with all kinds of roles. Some of the roles that are maybe less obvious, um, Intel Provider on attack would be, for example, a Zero who has cameras, right? So that's more intel information that you can work off of as an attacker. On defense, you got Architect, which would be any operator that can like change the map. So for a perfect example would be Castle, right? He can block certain doorways, block certain windows to try and move the attackers in a certain direction. It can use his shotgun to rotate, open walls. He's the perfect architect, really. Another thing to note is that a single operator doesn't need to have a single role. So Aruni, for example, she is sort of an architect. She can punch the walls and make rotates. She's also a trapper, right? Her Aruni gates can be used as traps to take damage, but they're also projectile denial weapons or utility. Um, so she's kind of when you select Aruni, all of these roles will be like a little bit growing in percentage number, if you know what I mean. Another one to explain maybe is Debuffer. So this would be utility on defense that slows down the attackers or makes it more difficult for them to do certain stuff. So, for example, Melusi, which really slows you down when you're trying to push a certain direction, or Lesion, which also doesn't allow you to sprint once you step into a goo mine. Most of these roles are roles that are actually defined by Ubisoft and that their developers are using. Debuffer was one in specific that they mentioned that they're working on some operators that would fall into that category in the future. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with there. How to use this report in general is, like I said, try and find uh, overlap where there doesn't need to be. So an example of overlap here is Heart Breacher, right? Both me and Naka both play Heart Breacher. Um, in general, that's not a bad idea. Having two Heart Breaches on attack is okay depending on what map you're playing. But let's say both of those were Flank Watch, that'd be a bad idea, right? Having two Flank Watches, like for example a Nomad and a Gridlock, that's really not necessary. And so at that point you can look at, okay, who's better at the Flank Watch role? Is it Blonde or is it Naka? Okay, it's Naka, cool. Blonde, stop playing Flank Watch and play, Utility Remover instead, or whatever we're missing that we should be having. And that's how that works. Yeah, you can turn stuff off to see who plays what more, but yeah, that's how it works.